All right. Well, I am Susan Mock, the owner of the Stitchin Den, and I am here live in the shop up in Estes Park with Carolyn Greenwood. And she is here to host a live trunk show and talk about her wonderful fibers. And first, Carolyn, would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. So I'm Carolyn Greenwood. I am from Utah, from a small town called Genola. About 1,000 people, but that's where we have our dye studio. I started dyeing, and selling yarns probably about 15 years ago. I started out by being a spinner and dyeing fibers for spinners, and then people who liked yarn who weren't spinners used to come by my booth or things say, can't you make yarn? I'm like, well, yeah, I can do yarn. And so I started dyeing yarns and found that I really love to be able to do the colors that I love on yarns. And being from the Mountain West, a lot of my colors are inspired by just the colors around me. A lot of our colors are more muted, like the deep blues that you're wearing or I'm wearing. A lot of just different colors that are a little more richer. In Utah, we have a lot of red rocks, so there's a lot of that rusty type of deep reds and things I love to work with, turquoise. But it just kind of happens naturally that the colors around me are what I dye with. And so I love being here in the mountains. And I think, we were in Rocky Mountain National Park yesterday. I see a lot of the colors there that we use too. I think it just happens naturally.
Well, I think there's a lot of overlap between like Utah and Colorado and the mountains and everything. You have a lot of the similar type of colors.
It's true.
So which came first? Was it you having your booth and selling yarns, or were you started dyeing and then you decided to have a booth? So like the chicken and the egg, what came first?
That it's kind of an organic process the way I did it. And I started dyeing just for myself. And then people saw my work and they were saying, could you sell to us? Mostly they were my friends to begin with. And I thought, well, they're just being nice because they're my friends. But then I brought wool and yarns and they wanted them and they wanted more than I brought even. And then I got talked into putting up a booth in a local festival in Utah. And from there, it just kind of grew. We went online and I met you at Yarn Fest, I believe.
Yarn Fest and up here, I think.
And in Estes.
At the wool market.
Yes.
And I've always just loved your fibers.
Oh, thank you.
So it seems kind of fun that we come full circle and now I have the fibers and the trunk show and you here in the shop, and it's very exciting for us.
Oh, I love it here too.
So speaking of what is your favorite thing about the Greenwood fiber business?
Oh, my favorite thing is definitely meeting people. I love to be able to travel, to help people put together yarns and things exactly what they're wanting for a project, to see what they make from the yarn. That is probably what thrills me the most, is to have people come and say, look what I've made, and to be so happy with a project they've created. And it just gives me goosebumps almost to see how happy yarn can make people and just be around people.
They come in smiling, and it's just, we even feel that way, like when people come in the shop and they show and tell, we call it, when they come in and they've made something out of some of our other fibers, and it's like their artistic license that they've taken and the things that they've come up with. Everything's always different, so it's hard not to smile in this business. That's for sure. So you have a lot of fabulous models here. How do you choose what models you decide to use?
That's a good question. So a lot of times I am looking for items that will really show off the type of yarns that we have. I work a lot with fingering weight and DK weight. That's kind of our specialty. I'm moving more towards DK weight because I think people are enjoying that weight for sweaters or shawls like the one you have on, because it knits up or crochets up really quickly. And so I look for patterns that really show off the color. And also things that are accessible to our customers, things that aren't going to be too hard to make. So when they fall in love with a sample, we could say, Yes, that's more in the beginner to moderate range. It's something that anybody really could knit or crochet, and so that people can go home and be successful with those projects.
And I tell you, your yarns have such a luxurious feeling to them that even if you're a beginner and you're just starting with the project, you're just going to just fall in love with these fibers because they feel so good, not to mention the colors. So I say luxurious, you know, you don't see yak everywhere in your fibers. So how did you pick yak?
Well, I picked yak, first of all, because of the way it dyes.
Okay.
It dyes colors really rich and deep, which is a kind of colors I like. It's a light gray color before we dye it. And so when we dye on top of the light gray, it makes colors, that rich color, you just can't get any other way. So first of all, I was drawn to the color. But second of all is the feel of it. I know.
It's very soft and it just feels so wonderful.
So it is so soft that you can wear it around your neck, not feel any prickliness at all. It feels luxurious. It's wonderful to work with. And as we have it blended with merino and silk, which the merino gives it more loftiness. The yak gives it the softness, and the silk gives it that little bit more drape and just a tiny bit of sheen. And so I think the blend is just perfect.
It's hard to see these up close and personal, but they're very, very beautiful. So what model would you like to talk about first? Or would you like to talk about your individual fibers or?
Well, let's go through the models. I think we'll hit all the fibers and yarns that way. Well, let's start with what you're wearing.
This has been one of the most popular shawls on that we
on the planet, probably.
Just about I was going to say on the planet. I thought that might be exaggerated. So tell us a little bit about this.
So this is the Night Shift Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and it's one that you'll see all over the place. It's such a wonderful design. The thing that drew my eye to this design is the fact that there's so many different colors that you can put in this shawl, and it slip stitches so that you never carry more than one color per row. So even though it looks complicated, it's one of the most simple knits you can do for color work, I think, because you just knit all the blue in one row and just slip the stitches that aren't that color, and then come back and then you do the gray the next two rows.
It's a lot harder than it is, doesn't it?
It's, in fact, my daughter, who is a beginning knitter, this was her second project ever. So
well, that's pretty dang good. That speaks volumes. So let's see. So since we're talking about this one, so I just get a couple more colors out.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. And then you can see how different all of them can be.
So the first one she showed you was in our dungaree colorway. I wanted one that looked like denim. So I chose all of our denim type colors and did that. Now this one is probably my favorite. This is the first color choices I put together. I call it Weekend, because I think of weekends and you want something that's just very casual, something you can throw on as you're, you know, even heading to the grocery store or whatever. But this one has more muted colors, and I think it looks wonderful with just about everything.
Yes.
And it's a shawl that I love the colors in particularly, and so I wear that one. So that's our Weekend colorway, and we put this together in kits so that you have the right amounts.
Yeah, that was just very wonderful of you to do. So you don't have to buy like full skeins of yarn to do this. If you can, if you want, but you can also buy a kit for the particular color that you like, and it has approximately pretty close to the exact amount of yarn you're going to need, right?
We try to give just a little extra
in case you're a little different, tight knit, loose knit, and then you also have your pattern in there. So these are kitted up just for you, and that was just a special thing that Carolyn has done for us.
Yes, we have one more color there. Now this one's fun. I love this one. This one we call Parade. And this has all kinds of bright and jewel tone colors. I love that. That looks pretty good on you. I like that on you.
That's what's great about these. It kind of look good on everybody.
Uh-huh.
Even me.
Oh. But the colors are beautiful.
Yeah.
And this one's bright and cheerful.
Mhm.
And I honestly cannot say that we have a favorite. All three of them, our customers seem to like, each one for different reasons. So.
And let's see, there was a smaller version of this.
Right, now I haven't made that one out of our yarns, but I think you have it in one of the yarns here in the shop.
But I mean, you can see there, you can still pick the yakety yak or the yarn that you use, and it makes a cowl.
Yeah, so is this called the Shifty or something like that? But it's by Andrea Mowry. It's a smaller version cowl.
So I mean, beautiful colors and fun to do.
It really is a fun project. I think everybody should knit one of these.
I think so too.
I've knit about half a dozen. I love it.
That's the nice stuff. It comes in a kit and it has the 3 different colors for the kit, right? Okay, so
let's talk some more about, let's do some more of the DK yakety yaks. So maybe we'll do this sweater next. So the DK yakety yak is what we call the yarn that we made those shawls out of. And it's a wonderful merino, yak, and silk blend. There's about 231 yards per 100 grams. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful, soft DK weight. Oh yeah, here I can
put a couple over closer.
Yeah.
So if you want to see
the different types of yarns that we dye in that. All right, so Susan's holding her friend here. And oh my goodness, and my brain is going dead this morning for just a moment. The name of the sweater. Oh, here we have it, my little tag.
I gotta look at the cheat sheet.
That's right. This is the Seldotna Crop. And this one, I believe, is by Caitlin Hunter. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
Okay. Now, I chose this design because it goes so beautifully in the DK yakety yak. And as you can see, for color work, it fills in so nicely. The yarn is very round, very soft. So I don't consider myself really a great color work knitter in Fair Isle type knitting, but the yarn fills in those spaces. And when I block this out, I mean, it just makes it look like I'm an expert. That's what I love about this yarn. So we chose colors in the blue-green range for this top, and I knit it according to the pattern. Now, I'm kind of a curvy gal, and so I like maybe my sweater's a little longer, but it's very, very easy to do if you wanted to change the sweater length on this. In fact, in the pattern itself, it says, just go ahead and just keep knitting this center part to the length that you want. But I wanted to knit the sample just to the specs of the pattern so people could see how lovely this knits up and the feel. Isn't the feel wonderful? It's just wonderful. So the Seldotna, and that's Seldotna, the Seldotna Crop by Caitlin Hunter.
I think Paula will be feeding you links that as we're talking about things, she'll be shooting the links into the chat box of the event. And then you'll be able to, if you want to just click on something to see something a little closer or see more about the yarn or the pattern, you'll be able to do that.
Excellent. So for that, we just chose 4 different colors, and we have those here in the shop in the, and then we have a light, turquoise. There it is. So we just chose these different colors that we have here. But you can also choose different colors if you wanted to do it in something. Maybe you're into purples, or maybe you want to do more blue in the body. That's definitely fine. You can switch up those colors however you want. So I've made one in purples and pinks, and it was really pretty too. So it's a fun and quick knit. And if you want also longer sleeves, well, you can just keep knitting the sleeves on down too. And I'm kind of I have a preference towards 3/4 length sleeves, but I think the little hat sleeve is very cute on that too. So that's another design that I really like using our DK Yakety Yak. All right, let's see what else do we have. Oh, we have the crochet shawl.
Yes, we didn't know about crochet.
No, so I'll just talk about crochet while Susan grabs that sample. I crocheted many decades ago, and then I started knitting and I didn't go back to crochet. But in 2020, it was going to be my year to crochet. Now, 2020 had a different plan, but in January, I got a set of crochet hooks, and then I decided that crochet was something I wanted to do. And it came back really quickly, even though I had not crocheted for probably 30 years. I got my crochet hook out, and thanks to YouTube. YouTube's wonderful, because if you have a question about a stitch, I just went right there. And so this shawl here that Susan is wearing is called the Lost in Time shawl. And we wanted to put together some kits for our crochet friends. And even our knitter friends who might like to do a crochet project also. So this is called the Lost in Time shawl. It has some beautiful stitches. And I like to tell people, this is not your grandma's crochet.
No way.
I guess I had always thought of crochet as kind of old fashioned, and maybe it's just the things that
You
I've
gotta be
seen.
careful about the grandmas that might be on. We're not insulting our grandmas.
Oh, not at all. In fact, I'm a grandma. I keep telling my kids things like that. They say, but Mom, you're a grandma. You're the grandma crochet. Isn't it wonderful?
Crochet has come along.
It certainly has. And you can see all the different colors and stitches there. And so I love the modern freshness to a lot of the designs people are using with this. And so we put together kits for this. This is called the Lost in Time shawl. And we have all the different colors in the DK Yakety Yak yarn too.
Boy, there's 6 different colors, 7.
Yeah.
Boy, a lot of fun there. You never get bored working on this project.
No. All right. Let's see, what do we have left in the DK? Oh, we have the cowl.
Okay.
We'll do all of our DK Yakety Yak. As you can see, it's probably one of my most favorite yarns to work with. And this design, the reason I chose this, well, first of all, a friend of mine is the designer. She is from Arizona, and she runs one of the fiber festivals that we do in Flagstaff.
Oh,
And she designed, well, she's also a park ranger
really?
and a knitter and an organizer. So, and now she's a designer, and she made this cowl. You can see the trees and the little designs in it. This is called the Sacred Peaks Cowl, and it's made out of 2 colors of the DK Yakety Yak. Now, the nice thing about using it for a cowl is it's so soft, you will enjoy the feel of it around your neck. And so we put this kit together in several different colorways. This one here looks like it's in the denim. So we have a dark blue denim color. You can see that. And then Susan is wearing the one in turquoise and natural. And then we did, let's see, there's the turquoise. Here it is in currant. So if you like a deep red, here it is in currant and natural. And I think we have it in mocha too, which is a deep brown and natural color. So it looks a lot more, yeah, that's it. So there it is in mocha and natural.
Anyway,
Yeah, more like that.
more like this.
So if you want a more neutral palette. we like to do a lot of different choices because people have colors, and I'm sure you do too, that you like to wear more than others. And so I put it in a color that, you know, I'm probably most partial to the turquoise one, but I also really love the denim.
Just nice with the lighter color. It just really pops that pattern out.
Yeah. And that's a really fun project to work on. And it's a perfect piece for transitioning into fall. So as days start to just get a little bit chilly, you might just have on a little jacket, but wearing that cowl makes you feel toasty, even as the weather changes.
Once I don't like to even talk about it, but we're getting into that gifting season.
We are, aren't we?
And as knitters and crocheters, we got to think about it a little sooner than people that shop at the department store.
Well, that's true. And the nice thing about a cowl or a shawl is it's one size truly does fit all.
It does. It's great for those cool offices and that air conditioning. Okay.
It looks so nice on you.
I just think I like everything.
Oh, one more thing is
Carolyn?
Yes.
Carolyn, we have a question from Susan online. She wants to know if you have to carry the yarn in the back of the non-working yarn. I think she's wanting to know if it's like a color work cowl.
Okay, so on this one is Fair Isle. So you do carry the yarns on this one. So you can see, and the nice thing about the DK Yakety Yak is there's such a nice loftiness to the yarn that it has a nice stretch so that maybe your tension isn't where you want it to be in your Fair Isle knitting, but when you block this out, you can take a look at the back side here. It blocks out really nicely.
What a nice stretch in that.
It does. That's what makes that Fair Isle knitting work so well, at least for me.
Yep. Okay, is this the next one?
It is. You're looking great here.
I got a lot of hair, so
oh, that looks good too. So you can. It looks fantastic on you. So this is the Pinyon Pine Beanie. Do you see a theme here? I do love the mountains, and I love things that are from nature. So the Pinyon Pine Beanie is a design by Sheila Stromberg, who lives in Colorado. She's a good friend of mine, and she uses a lot of our yarns in her designs. And she made this hat where you can see it looks like trees just going up the hat. And they start out thicker and then they get narrower as like a tree does. And this is called the Pinyon Pine Beanie. And we put them together in those kits where in this cute little box, you get the pattern, the yarn, and the pom-pom for the very top too. And now I have to say, this is one that I knit for gifts for all of my daughters and granddaughters one year. And I let everybody choose the color they wanted. So for instance, you might want to get the kit that's all together with the pattern and then choose different colors of yarns if you have other people who like different colors because you've already got the pattern and things. So you could just
unique gift, that's for sure.
I made about half a dozen of those, all in different colors. And I had my daughters choose their favorite color. And I just knit them up. Once you start knitting, you memorize that pattern. It's very easy to memorize.
It's like it's repeat.
It is. It is. And I just love the way the stitch definition takes with this yarn too.
Very nice.
So not just color work, but also different types of stitches show up really well in the DK Yakety Yak. Well, now that I've talked about one of my favorite yarns, I am going to want to talk about a brand new yarn that you're actually the very first to have.
And he didn't even hardly realize that till it's like we are exclusive right now to this yarn.
I don't even have it on my website. So this is a brand new yarn. I was looking for a fingering weight yarn that could take color very bright and again is extremely soft. I like yarns that are very soft so that you don't have to worry about how they might feel on your skin and all. So we call this yarn Indulgence for obvious reasons. And
It is what, cashmere and
so superwash merino, cashmere, and silk. And it feels wonderful. Now, as you're holding this, I'm going to talk about a couple types of ways we dye yarn.
okay.
So the body of this is in what we call a tonal. And when we dye our tonals, we make sure we get from all the very lightest colors in it to the very dark. And this one is called turquoise tonal. And what we do is we mix up one color of dye, but we apply it several different ways during the dye process. So it goes from light to dark. And then we also dye in a very random manner so that you don't get pools of color, and that the color in the yarn, in the skein, I'm going to pull up one of those. That's a semi-solid. And here's the tonal. So you can see the difference between a semi-solid, which we dye fairly evenly across. You're going to have that wonderful, just slight color difference that hand dye has in a semi-solid. And then we do the tonal, where we purposefully try to get various shades of that one color. So you can see we take the tonal for the body of the sweater because there's so much stockinette stitch in this. It's perfect to show off a hand dye type yarn.
And you start out at the bottom and you do your fair isle across the bottom, but then you get past that and then you just cruise on through the rest of the sweater.
I was visiting the shop yesterday and sitting here, and I'm knitting the same sweater right now, and I can talk to people, I can look around because I'm up in the body part of it right now. That's so easy and fun to knit too. So the fair isle we did in our semi-solids. So you can see the black and the cream are dyed in the semi-solid way, but then I mixed it with a tonal. Now I could have done a semi-solid up here too, and if you prefer that, that's great. But I thought it just showed the yarn off. So when you ask me, how do I choose patterns? For hand dye yarns, when it has, I look sometimes for a lot of stockinette stitch in the pattern, because then I can use a really beautifully hand dyed yarn in lots of colors, and you don't have the design fighting with the yarn. So here we're showing off the yarn, and then down here where we do fair isle, we wanted to show off the design, so that's where we used our semi-solid. So you can mix and match depending on the effect that you want.
That's a pretty easy sweater.
Oh, it really is. This is very fun to do. And just as you're getting used to all that fair isle, you get, I call it the free knitting, where it's just easy knitting. You don't have to think anymore, and finish up that cute sweater. One thing I also love about this is look at this cute, the sleeve. The inside of the hem is the black contrasting color. And you show this little edge there. I just thought it was a really cute detail.
Nice detail.
Yes, I'm going to grab this one. So this is out of our Indulgence yarn, and so it's brand new. This is the first sample that was knit out of it. It was knit here in the shop, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bobby, you all know Bobby who works here. She knitted it.
And she did a beautiful job
Yes, she
too.
did.
And the nice thing about the Indulgence yarn, another thing I look for in yarns, is that it is very round. It fluffs into those little crevices of fair isle knitting, so that it fills it in and makes you look like such a great knitter. At least that's, for me, that's what I need.
Just great colors. This isn't all of them, but I just thought I'd put up some little close-ups.
Can I pull out this one real quick? So this one is a new colorway called Jubilee. And this is one of our variegateds. And every dyer has different techniques for how they do their variegated yarns. And the way that we like to dye ours is I use a very, very random type of dyeing in all of our variegated colors, so that when you're working with the yarn, your fabric is going to look very much like the skein looks. So we try not to make a yarn that will pool or stripe too much, that it mostly will give a really good blend of color. And that's how we dye our yarns. So this is the skein as we've dyed it. We did not reskein it. And this is how the yarn looks just naturally as we've dyed it. And that's how it will look in the fabric that you make from it. So those are good questions to ask when you're using a hand dye is, you know, has it been reskeined? Is it dyed in sections or is it dyed randomly? Because that affects the fabric. And, you know, depending on what you're wanting to get, you know, you might want to ask the dyer or the shop owner, you know, how those yarns are dyed. But that's how we do ours. And that's just because that's what I like, you know, and I get to dye it how I want.
So the color changes because
Right. Yes.
No patterning to your yarn.
Right.
Just the great color.
And it's just the way we do it. And so, you know, there's different ways to dye variegateds, and that's just the way that we prefer. And so that's how your fabric will turn out when you use it. All right.
Okay, so
Let's see. Oh, yes, let's do that. The drift stole. Yes. All right. So there's a young designer up in Wyoming who uses our yarn a lot. And her name is Hannah. And she designed this stole, which I love, using a box of our mini skeins and one skein of this is the mohair and silk blend. And she alternated rows in a really fun pattern here.
I didn't pick the right color.
That's okay.
This is the mohair.
Right, and we call this fine fluff. And it takes one skein of fine fluff and then one box of our mini skeins. So you can see this has all different colors as she's gone through. And this is long. Oh my goodness. Yep, so you can
I
see.
remember what Paula has to say about mini skeins. You can, it's kind of like see, I can't remember. Paula had the neatest thing to say about mini skeins, that you just can never have too many.
Mini skeins are like mini cupcakes. You can never have too many.
There you go. That's it.
It's such and when you wind them up, they look like little mini cupcakes.
They do. They do.
Oh, I love it. But this is a fantastic design. This is one that you can easily memorize, and you can choose whichever mini skein colors you like best.
Well, drift, right?
Drift.
The right one?
The Drift Stole, and it's by Hannah Miller. And this is such a fun project to knit, and that you can wrap around several times, or the way I like to wear this is I fold it in half and then I bring it around, get my hair out of the way here. So I wrap it around and I bring one end through the loop. So this is where it's folded in half, and I bring one end through. Then I take and I twist it, the loop just a little bit, half a twist, put my hand through, and then grab that. And then snug that up. And it just makes such a wonderful, like a scarf. And it's just snuggly and warm. It looks really pretty over a sweater even. But you can also, because it's wide enough, it is a stole too. You can wrap it around your shoulders a few times. And the mohair on this, in the fine fluff yarn, has such body to it. It's very soft. This is not like the old-fashioned mohair that was so scratchy a couple decades ago. This is kid mohair, which is clipped from the goats when they're younger so that the fiber is finer and softer. And it floats like a cloud and it doesn't even wrinkle or anything. It just keeps bouncing back into that beautiful drape.
It's beautiful, and you can just pick whatever combination of mini skeins if you want to change it from having the lighter colors to darker colors. I mean, there's nothing that's not going to work correctly.
All right, so that's something fun with the mini skeins. Now, I also want to show you what else we do with the mini skeins. So this is the Dristle by Hannah Miller. And we're making sure we are connected to the electricity so we don't lose you. Let's see, another mini skein project that we have here in the shop and for the trunk show is this one right here. And look at this pretty little shawlette. This is called the Peekaboo Shawl, and this is designed by a Salt Lake City designer called Mary Triplett. And she took one box of our mini skeins. And again, you can do this in any color where there's just 5 little mini skeins. And then she made a design using those 5 skeins. Mm-hmm. Oh goodness. And so you can see with 5 little skeins, she was able to get this cute shawlette out of it. And what's really interesting about this shawl is there's little sections of lace, and then there's a little section of stockinette stitch striping between it. And it's so pretty. I think the way that is set off is very unique and just really cute. So this is a fun shawl, as you can see, and there's enough length that you can tie this around and do some cute things with it. But this is just one package of mini skeins. And so you can pick up that little box of mini skeins in whatever color and get a full project from just that. Really fun.
Great colors.
I love this design. Let's see, did we have any other mini skein projects? Oh, I knew we sent one more. Oh, and this is my design. I forgot all about it. So this is also just out of one package of mini skeins, and I call this the Canal Cowl. I've had so many people fall in love with these cute little mini skeins, but we wanted to have projects that you could make just using one box of them. And so I came up with this very simple cowl. Now, again, the cowl looks a lot more complicated than it is because it's slip stitches, just like the night shift shawl.
See, there's no running floats in the back.
No, so you only use one color per round. And so right here, you would be doing the gold color and then slipping the blue. When you come to a blue stitch, you just slip it. You don't knit it for that round. And then later you knit those blue stitches on their own. So it's fun, easy to do, and you can pick out any color of.
None of them would not look good.
Yeah, so here we have, this one's called Gentle Breeze that she's holding up. That is out of our Simply Sock yarn. It's a fingering weight.
Oh, so you could just start socks with this too.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, we haven't even got.
And then these ones here that were brought out earlier, these are out of yak. So we do have some mini skeins in fingering weight in a yak sock blend. And this one has marine, superwash merino, yak, and nylon in this one for socks or for cowls. All the different colors.
If we didn't have the glare,
Right.
it does. I mean, me standing here looking at it, I can sure see how the color takes to the different yarns.
Mhm. So that also is a design that I come up with simple designs. That's what I do. But because I wanted something that would show off the colors and be easy to knit. And again, this would be a great gift. Or if you run out of time for your knitting friends, a pattern and a cute box of mini skeins.
Wouldn't they love that? I'd love that. Maybe like the cupcake thing.
We send a lot of these out come November, December.
Those last ones.
Yes.
Nice. Let's see, I've covered everything.
I think we've come pretty close.
I think we have all of these are on our website. We've had them in the shop this whole month. We'll continue to have them in the shop through the month of August. And we'll probably be continuing to carry more of Carolyn's yarns in the shop and kits and different things. So keep an eye on our website. We got a lot of things on there right now, the things that we have in the shop. So if you don't want to make a trek up here, you can shop right off the website. And if you have questions, make sure you're sending them to Paula, and she'll get questions for Caroline to answer right now. If you have any question about a pattern or how to pick colors or how to put something together, boy, we've got a captive audience here right now. She can help us with all of those things.
Carolyn, we do have a question. Where does the yak yarn come from?
Our yak yarn comes mainly from the Mongolia region, where they raise the yaks and their fiber commercially. We're starting to see a little bit more in the United States now. And, funny question, because on my way driving here from Utah, I stopped at a farmer's market in Steamboat Springs. And there was a booth that was selling yak meat. And so, of course, I had to go right up to them and say, do you sell the fiber? Because I would love to have an American source for yak fiber and to have it in quantity. There's several people in the United States who have yak more as a hobby, just a few in a herd, but they had 90 and they hadn't done anything with the fiber yet. So I'm crossing my fingers that we can make a connection and maybe
That would be really nice.
Maybe find a US source for it too. But right now, most of the yak that you will see in yarns that are commercially done, unless you're getting it from a small producer, is coming from the Mongolia region.
Maybe he's coming soon to the USA.
I'll tell you, it is a fiber that people are loving. And there is a huge demand for it because they're starting to use it. Yak is very soft, but it's also very warm. Just think of those animals up in the Mongolian mountains, right there, needing to stay warm. And it's the down, the undercoat that we use.
Okay.
So it keeps them very warm and it keeps us very warm and soft.
It's fun to work with.
It is.
Any other questions, Paula?
Yes. So Carolyn, I know the Indulgence is your new yarn, but do you have anything else kind of up your sleeve hidden that you're working on?
Okay, so I do have a DK weight that's sitting in my studio and hasn't even been dyed yet. It's there waiting for me in the same blend as the Indulgence. So not only will we have that merino cashmere silk blend in fingering weight, but we hope to have it in the DK weight too. So that's another thing I have in the pipeline. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I'm always coming up with new things because I can, and it's fun.
It is fun.
And just like knitters, we have lots of projects that we're working on at once. I have a lot of dyeing that I'm working on at once because I just get ideas.
Especially with all your traveling around, you might see a field of beautiful colors, and it's like, oh, that would make beautiful colors in my yarn.
Well, I've already taken some photographs just on my small trip out here. So
Very good.
True.
Coming soon then.
Yes.
Also, I was with Carolyn yesterday and she's like, oh, look at that color combination. And she snaps photographs. So her mind is always going and working on new things. So let's see. Carolyn, I don't have any other questions unless someone wants to type in another question here for you. We'll give it a couple more minutes for anyone to do that if they would like to.
Oh, sure.
While they're thinking, Paula, should I mention who are our winners from our yarn crawl?
Sure, let's do that. I actually think one of them is joining us today.
So that would be I think, is it Linda Hoffman?
Yes.
And she's our grand prize basket winner from completing all 4 shops.
Oh,
And so she was in the big entry and she was drawn out. So I have her basket up here and we'll be contacting her if she's not on the call. And I want to announce our gift certificate winner is Shauna Newman. She won our $50 gift certificate. And again, we'll be in contact with her. And that's a gift certificate to the Stitchin Den, either in the shop or online. And then one of our door prize winners is Kathy Nauman, and she won the Cascade prize package. So those are some of our winners from this past shop hop that we just have finished up.
Great, thank you. I don't see any other questions.
Okay, well then I think we can say goodbye, and I'll say thank you for coming,
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been nice having you here. And the weather's been cooperating.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, not near as warm as in the valley. It's very delightful up here. So we'll say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everyone, and thank you so much for having me.
Bye.